Welcome to Vijetha IS Academy. This is the previous year question paper discussion. We are starting from 2020, paper 1. Section A. Write a short note on the following. We have seen Natufian culture. We will be seeing the second one, Sapir Whorf hypothesis. So what can be the ideal introduction? In the context of language and culture, there are different views which include number 1, linguistic view, which was given by Bloomfield. Linguistic view state that language is independent of culture. The second view is anthropological view. Again, there are two perspectives here. First one is parallel view, and the second one is unitary view. See, anthropological view states that language influences culture and culture influences language. That means vice versa. This parallel view was given by Edward Sapir and Benjamin Lee Whorf, who is a student of Edward Sapir. Unitary view was proposed by Clifford Geertz, Robert Brown, and Michael Silverstein. See, what is the basis of this Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? Basis or premise of Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. See, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis states that real world is to a large extent is unconsciously built on the language habits of a group. This is the basic premise. In Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, we have two components. Basically has two components. So what are those two components? One is linguistic determinism and linguistic relativism. And now you have to explain what is linguistic determinism and linguistic relativism. We will see it. But what could be the ideal introduction? You can say that in the context of language and culture, we have linguistic view given by Bloomfield, which states that language is independent of culture. We have anthropological view, which states that language influences culture and vice versa. There are two perspectives or views again in anthropological view. One is parallel view and the second one is unitary view. Parallel view was given by Edward Sapir and Benjamin Lee Whorf, and unitary view was given by Clifford Geertz, Robert Brown and Michael Silverstein. And what is the basic premise of this Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is real world is to a large extent is unconsciously built on the language habits of a group. This is the basic premise, and the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis consists of two components. One is linguistic determinism and linguistic relativism. Now we are going to explain what is linguistic determinism and what is linguistic relativism, and then going to conclude. So what is linguistic determinism? So linguistic determinism. Linguistic determinism states that what is said has some effect on how the concepts are recognized by the human mind. If the concepts are recognized or has a great effect, then we can call strong determinism. And if it has a little effect or recognized weakly by the human mind, then we can say weak determinism. And we know that there are number of languages or so many language differences we have. So there are so many cultural differences also, and one cultural player or actor is unable to understand the other culture properly, primarily because of their primary language or the mother tongue. Because the primary language or the mother tongue leads to strong determinism, whereas the other language, the secondary language, leads to weak determinism. So this forms the foundation, these differences form the foundation for linguistic determinism. So further, if you want to extrapolate, because of these differences, one is not able to understand. One is not able to understand other cultures properly. Why? Due to the strong determinism, primarily because of their mother tongue. Understood? So this is linguistic determinism. Then we will see linguistic relativism. Linguistic relativism, sorry. Linguistic relativism states that one's own thought, one's own language catches the thoughts of an individual. So it is what you say is what you see. This is linguistic, sorry, it is relativism, linguistic relativism. So here in this particular context, Worf has studied English language speakers, and Hopi speakers. And this Hopi is a Uto-Aztecan language spoken by Hopi tribe, and this Hopi tribe lives in northeastern Arizona of United States. Now very few Hopi speakers are there. So he basically studied English speakers and Hopi speakers. This Hopi language is basically called as a tenseless language, tenseless system. That means there is no difference with respect to time and space. That means their language do not have discrete words to pay attention to time and space. That means they do not differentiate past, present and future tense. It doesn't mean for them, it is for them yesterday, today and tomorrow is one and the same. They do not differentiate, it is irrelevant for them. But whereas for English speakers, definitely there are different tenses here, which is past tense, present tense and future tense. That means English speakers differentiate yesterday, today and tomorrow. So now, according to Ronald Wardhoe, he says that Worf is of the opinion that these two speakers see world in different way because of language differences. This is nothing but linguistic relativism. So Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, we have seen linguistic determinism and linguistic relativism, and then in conclusion you can write that this Sapir-Whorf hypothesis has been criticized by linguists and even socio-cultural anthropologists because this hypothesis is based on limited qualitative empirical research. However, because of Sapir-Whorf hypothesis and the opposition it received, it led to development of other methods of study to understand language and culture as a dynamic socio-cultural phenomena. So Sapir-Whorf hypothesis may not be completely true, however it also cannot be outrightly rejected. So these three sentences you can use in conclusion. So Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, in introduction we have seen different views, and then Sapir-Whorf hypothesis we have seen the basis or the premise of Sapir-Whorf hypothesis and the two basic components, which are linguistic determinism and linguistic relativism. We explained them, and then we have written the conclusion. So this would be the ideal structure of this particular question, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Thank you very much. That's all for now.